All right, so good day. I guess we're live, and you are welcome. Welcome to this session, right? I'm guessing that we are live both on our YouTube channel, our Facebook group as well. I want to be sure that we are live on our Facebook group. Okay, great. We're live on both sides. So if you're just joining me for the first time, please say hello and tell me where you're watching me from. If you're joining me for the first time, just put a hashtag and say first time watching. And tell me where you're watching from, whether you're watching for the first time or for, many times, right? We put this out, this particular conversation out right on our YouTube channel and also on our Facebook group. And yesterday we shared what we are going to be having, and it was so much of a buzz. A lot of people wanted to really learn about what we have today. Today, simply put, we're going to be teaching you how you can help your children to begin to read better. All right. So if you're here, please tell me where you're watching me from. I need to see people saying where they're watching me from, see comment before I know that I'm not alone. All right. I think I will also start with introducing myself because I know that many times we get to see many people who join us every time. My name is Wendy Ologe. I am the founder of the Intentional Parent Academy, and I'm also the author of parenting books, Connect to Correct, the discipline that works from yelling to calm. And this parenting books have actually done a lot of parents on their journey. We've done over 10,000 for just Connect to Correct in copies, hard copies, e-copies. And the discipline that works have also sold in about 7,000 copies or so. And we also have From Yelling to Come. And then we also have an upcoming book called Walking Your Child Through Puberty. All right. So if you're here and you're joining me, please, I want to see your comments. All right, I can see. Whoa, thank you. Thank you, Senior IT. My senior in secondary school is here. All right, thank you, Pali. I see you, Deborah from Ilori. Thank you for joining me. Thank you, everybody. I see you all from YouTube. Thank you, Annie. Thank you, Annie from Port Harcourt on Facebook. Thank you, Luatosi. Thank you so much. I just want to say that we are here every Tuesday bringing this sessions live. This is one of the programs that every that we bring from on TIP. So on TIP, one of the things that we do is that we are here every Tuesday at 2 p.m. against all odds. There were too many reasons why I wasn't going to be here today, but you know, it's part of the work, and we are here. All right. So good afternoon and welcome again. So today we're looking at helping your children learn how to read. I am hoping that the people on Facebook can hear me loud and clear. Please, if you can, before we start off, can you just tell me that you can hear me loud and clear so that we can go on? All right. If you can hear me loud and clear, then we can go on. Oh, I can see that we have quite a number of people right on our Facebook group. Sorry, I'm actually streaming on my system, and of course that makes it a little difficult to see comments immediately. All right. So welcome everybody and child love reading. Commenting. If you're watching me from, I want to see you say first time watching me. All right. I'm streaming live from the capital city. Someone is asking. I'm streaming live from the capital city in Abu of Nigeria. That is Abuja. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, and welcome here. So today we're looking at how to help your child love reading. Whoops. All right. So I know that when we heard this, there are many things that parents love. One of them is to have children who are well behaved, and then another is to have children who can read, who are successful in school, and all that. But many of the times, it could be a lot of struggles. It could be a lot of struggles. All right. A lot of people have reached out to me to say, what do you do when your children hate to read? Is actually a big deal, right? For a lot of parents. It could be anything. So today we're going to start by sharing what could be the reason. Um, um, why is it that is it possible first time? Oh, I can see a lot of first timers. Thank you for being here. Why is it that your children really do not like to read? Now, the first thing that we're going to be looking at are the reasons. So I think when we look at the reasons, then we will be able to, diagnose and then begin to, look at a lot of things that could be the problem. Number one, Number one reason why your child could hate reading could be that your child have learning disability. It is possible that your child has learning disabilities. Children who have ADHD could actually have issues reading, right? So a lot of people will say that when they had children who had ADHD, they had because they can't sit still. There's a lot that happens to your child if they have ADHD. All right, so it could be a thing for your child. It could be the reason why your child is not working. ADHD is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So it could be one of the reasons why your child is not, liking to read. This is one of the reasons. Please remember, we're sharing, the different reasons and what could happen. What could be the reason why your child does not like to read. Remember, that's where we are, and we have just shared just one of the reasons. Yes, it could be that your child has ADHD, and I said ADHD is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. It's a mental health disorder that can cause, above normal levels of hyperactivity and impulsive behaviors as well. So people with ADHD may also some of them have trouble focusing their attention on a single task or sitting still for a long period of time. Now, there are a lot of children who are also kinesthetic, and I'm going to come to that are usually mistaken to have ADHD. All right? They are mistaken to have ADHD. Sometimes it's not that the child actually have ADHD. It could be that the child is just a kinesthetic learner. So we'll come to that. But please, there are neurologically based issues with information, that can help you diagnose if your child have learning disabilities. A child who has learning disabilities could have issues, right, concentrating. It could be, it could be that your child is struggling. So I have seen a lot of, the time where parents actually hit their children because they can't read. Your child can also be dyslexia. So learning disabilities are due to genetic factors. These factors alter brain functioning in a manner which affects one or more cognitive processes that is related to learning. So these processing problems can interfere with learning basic skills like teaching, like reading, like writing, like mathematics. So it all depends. So you need to actually look at this thing before you begin to now push your child or begin to say things like, oh, my child does not like to read and all that. It could be that that child has dyslexia, right? So when we talk about learning disabilities, here are 5 most common learning disabilities that we have in classroom. 5 most common learning disabilities that we have in classroom. We have dyslexia, and is the best well-known learning disability. All right, dyslexia. Please, you can put that in the comment section so that this can be as interactive as it should be. Dyslexia. Then I have talked about ADHD. There's also processing deficit. There's also dysgraphia. There's also dyscalculia. You know that these are all learning disabilities that can cause your child not to like to read. Remember, first of all, what we are doing is that we are trying to put together why your child does not like to read. That's our first point of call, right? So you need to find out, is my child having issues with learning, right? If your child has learning disabilities, you need to fix that. No matter what we say here today, this is not going to work for your child. So you need to fix that, and then you need to now begin to look at a lot of things. All right. So, and this is number 1. Number 2, reason why your child might not like to read is that you do not understand how to understand your child's interest. Now, when it comes to reading, there are 2 aspects: interest, learning styles. So when you do not understand the way your child learns, then it's going to be a problem getting your child to read. I will explain why. Many times you see a lot of parents actually teach their children with their own learning style. There are different kinds of learning styles, but there are 3 major learning styles: the people who learn by doing, the people who learn by seeing, and the people who learn by what they hear. Now, every single one of us can learn by these 3 major learning styles, but majority of us learn by one dominantly. All right. So what is the dominant learning style of the child? A lot of the times, parents do not understand what the dominant learning style of a child is. For instance, I give a very vivid example. I have a set of twins and they are 10. The both of them do not read the same kind of literature when it comes to reading. The both of them do not have the same kind of interest. I'm coming to interest. I see someone is asking me about interest. Yes. Both of them do not have the same kind of interest. Unfortunately, what happens a lot of the times is that a lot of parents just assume that the children should just like anything. All right? That the children should just like anything. So it makes it even more difficult. So the child begins to struggle. You get into a shop, you just hear, oh, this book is good. You just go pick it up and then you dump it on your child. Now, the learning style of that child will determine whether that book will be read or not. That's one point. Then another point is that the interest of that child will determine whether that book will be read or not. If you give a kinesthetic learner, for instance, kinesthetic learners, I've heard parents say things like, I've been beating my children because they won't sit down in a place to learn. It breaks my heart. Because a lot of the times we do not even understand that there are children who will never, ever sit still through a 1-hour time. And if you do not understand that, how do you now begin to understand how you're going to help your child become that reader you want them to become. Because there are children who are going to be, they're like that. Their brain is wired that way. So it's not their making, it is how their brain is wired. The question you want to ask yourself today is, I want to say this in the comment section. Who understands their child's learning is your child? What kind of learner is your child? I want us to make this interactive. What kind of learner is your child? Do you understand how your child learns? And apart from understanding how your child learns, do you understand how you learn? Now, I've seen a lot of parents who tell me, oh, I've worked with so many families who tell me, oh, my children don't like reading. And many times when we begin to go through the process diagnosing what exactly is the issue, we find out that a lot of the times children are being shoved down their throat the things that are of no interest to them. I share another example. I come from a family of five. Four of us write, and we are published authors. And one of the things that I have realized is that amongst us all, we read different kind of things. Our interests are not the same in any way. I can't do anything on fiction, right? I can try. But my immediate younger brother writes fiction all through. Now, that is interest. Somebody was asking me about interest. So that is interest. So they are all, where we all have different kind of interest. So our interest will determine the kind of thing that, it's attractive to us. That's why you see some books, some children are attracted to some books, they are not. Because our interest is one fundamental thing that helps a child to read. If the interest of the child is not considered, then it's going to be difficult to get your child to even begin to read at all. Remember, the idea is to get your child to even begin to read, then they can now read anything. I'm going to share with you how, I was able to help my son, who is a dominant kinesthetic learner, to begin to read voraciously. And that's not even, all. And also share with you a few things that we did in the academy. Now, there's a course in the academy called Understanding Your Child's Learning Style. That course actually shows you exactly where your child belongs in the spectrum. Now, if you're one is a fast learner, the other, okay, yes, I understand. If you have your children's learning styles, if you understand it, then you understand how to, help them separate what they need to do per time. So this is a key thing in raising children. A lot of parents come and say, oh, I'm frustrated about my child. I'm frustrated. My child doesn't want to read. Many times it's just because maybe we're even teaching our children with our own learning style. So we opened up registration of that course so you can join. I'm going to make an announcement again about it at the end of the session. But if you want to be part of it, then you can enroll and be part of it and then learn a lot of things that you need to do. Parenting is about bridging the knowledge gap. Now I was talking about interest. Before I understood some of the things that I'm telling you today, our daughter, because she's very auditory, it was easy for her to pick reading. So reading came so easily to her. Remember, I said I have a set of twins. So this thing to begin to compare can get there. But because of what I know, I understood that people were different. But I needed to understand more about what happens to a child who cannot, all right? Who cannot. Yeah, Annie, yes, thank you so much. Annie was in one of the courses. Who cannot actually do the thing that they can do. So I began to study the pattern of learning style of our son. He's a dominant kinesthetic learner. Our son could pass for an 85% kinesthetic learner. Just yesterday, he was cutting potatoes so that he could fry them. It was his turn in the kitchen, right? Yes, in my home, boys cook as well. So it was his turn in the kitchen, and he was trying to put the stuff together. And then he jumped from the kitchen. He came into the grill. At the time, I was going to say Then my husband turned to me and said, "Yeah, kind of aesthetic learners." And we laughed about it. So when you understand how your child learns, it's even going to help you be able to manage what you call misbehavior. Because some of the things you call misbehaviors are actually the way a child is wired. Now, if you do not understand some of those things, then it makes it even more difficult to teach that child. When we go to buy books, when we do book shopping right in my home, we do a lot of book is one of the I call it one of the top chains of the value system in my own home. So my home could pass for a mini library. All right. So when we go to do book shopping, right, and we get into the place, the kind of books our son chooses is different because his interest is different. What I was doing before was that I was buying the same kind of books and I was saying everybody needs to read it, but that didn't work. And the truth is that that might be the struggle that you are also having in your own home because you're trying to lump all your children together without understanding who they are. That backfires a lot of the time. So if you're having those struggles where you do not understand, who your child is as far as his learning style, a good place to start from is to begin to actually understand how he learns. And I will recommend that you join and take one of those courses that we have in the academy called Understanding Your Child's Learning Style. So that's two. I've talked about 3 reasons why your child might not like to read. Now we are moving, right? So we have number 1 reason, it could be a learning disability. Number 2 reason, it could be that your child, the interest, the kind of book that you're buying doesn't fit the interest. And then it could be also that you do not understand your child's learning style. All right? So, and then these are some of the reasons why a child could hate to read. Another reason is that the child is also not motivated to read. I'm going to put that, the environment that a child is in helps the child, motivate the child to understand, and to fit into something, some system. I remember that a parent that we worked with sometime complained that, her children are always on, gadgets and all that. They don't read anything, no matter what she buys, they've never read it. So I simply told her that it could be that simply that, the technology environment is overshadowing the book environment. Why not begin to look at things differently? Get movies that have books. You read the book or watch the movie. All right. So, and then we started to work, and I think 1 month after, her children were reading so much that she ran back to me to say, please, how can I stop them from reading? Because part of what we did was a method that I shared on The Discipline That Works. The Discipline That Works is my second book. If you do not have a copy, you should get a copy. In The Discipline That Works, I shared a method of discipline, of correcting behavior called silence and deliberate programming. So we use silence and deliberate programming to program the environment of the children. By doing what? By eliminating the things. So what we do a lot of the times is that you see parents say things like, you're not reading. But the environment of the child doesn't even help the child to become someone that likes to read. So we did silence and deliberate more programming. And one of the mistakes that we do as regards some, discipline, that discipline, it comes in different aspects. I saw a post on the group that talked about punishment and discipline. What's the difference? Let me tell you the difference between punishment and discipline. Punishment impacts the thinking and the emotional brain. while discipline imparts the thinking brain. Someone to put it in the comment section. Punishment imparts the emotional brain, while discipline imparts the thinking brain. If your child is not motivated to think, you need to look at that system that you're using again and then redo it. The moment your child understands this, then your child will be able to actually, put things in perspective. The moment that happens, then you have results. Then you have results. Because the aim of discipline is to ensure that your child learns how to do that. Unfortunately, one of the things that I see happen over and again is that we hit children and we forget that there's a learning system. For instance, a child can't read because a child, I've had cases where because a child cannot read, the parent beat the child. In fact, one of the cases, the parent beat the child so much that the child got injured. It was so painful. That your child can't read and you're beating the child is an error. An error. It is your own frustration. Get over it. Your child is not going to, turn around to become one perfect person just because, you just want your child to go and competition. Or you want your child because my Meka's son is reading. So your child must read. I started earlier and I said that I had a set of twins. I have a set of twins that both of them didn't even start reading at the same time. Oh, our daughter started reading. By the time our daughter was leaving preschool, like play group, and going to nursery, sorry, I'm going to grade 1. She was the one who read the valedictory speech in her school. As in, she stood, read it. It was a long paper of like 3 pages. So she was 6. She was going to be 6 by, the next month or so. She was 6. All right, so sorry. I think for a moment there, I had a network glitch, and I don't know if right in the Facebook group if they can still see me. I think I had a bit of a network challenge. I'm hoping that people on Facebook can I'm hoping that people on Facebook can still see me. Please, if you're on Facebook and you're watching me and you can see me, please let me see that you can see me. Let me see that you can see me. I'm going to also add the Facebook streaming here and be sure that I have that going. Right? Okay, please, if you can still see me, if you can still hear me, please let me know. I think we had a glitch on Facebook, right? I think we have a glitch on Facebook, and that was it. So sorry about that. So sorry. If you're YouTube, you can see me, you can still hear me. Please let me know that all right. So sorry about. Please do let me know so that I'll be sure that we're still here together. I could still see you, ma. Yeah, on Facebook, I can see you. All right. Okay. Right. Okay. I can see people say they can still see me. So sorry about that. We had since we are not the owners of the network, I guess that put us off. All right, so we're gonna go on with what we have. So sorry if you are just being booted out. Right? Thank you so much for being here. Okay, so let's go on. I guess that we also have a stream right on Facebook, and I can see that people are beginning to join back. All right, so sorry. And where we were talking about, how not to use your children to now begin to as trophies or begin to get frustrated because your children cannot, read, or because they cannot do what they need to do per time. You must, as a parent, understand who your child is, and that will help your child to actually, I will help your child to actually help you to actually begin to help your child. I say often that knowledge is a prerequisite for parenting a child, especially in the now, because your child will need to know. Your child you need to know for you to parent your child, right? So we're going to go quickly. I guess we've talked about a lot about why your children hate reading. We're going to go quickly to what you can do, how you can begin to help your child to like reading, all right? So number one thing that you want to note is that reading to your children increases their IQ. Yes, reading to your children increases their IQ. How does that happen? All right, because research actually says that it's the single best way to actually help your child, have high IQ. So when you say, "Oh, I don't have time," "Oh, I cannot help my children," "Oh, I cannot do this and that," remember that you have a role to play. You have a role to play. Some people ask me, so at what point should I start reading to my children? At what point should I start reading, to my children? I usually say that children that are even right in the stomach, children that are even right in the stomach can hear when you read. Yes, it's proven. So if you have a child, right, and you're pregnant, the best thing to do is to actually begin to read to them. So parenting starts the moment you conceive a child. Parenting starts the moment you conceive a child. All right? So it's important that you look at these things holistically. It's not when you now get to the middle, you now say, "Oh, I need to really start." No, it starts the very moment you begin to, the very moment you begin to hear and look at your child and begin to, see, "Oh, I have a child, I am expecting a child." So that is what parenting is about. So number one thing is that You need to learn to read to your children. So as you do also, it will also increase a deep love for reading. The moment you begin to read to your children, you will begin to see that your children begins to love reading. Please, if you can still hear me, please put in the comment section, all right, that you can hear me. Put in the comment section that you can still hear me. I know that today it's a bit funny on network. So if you can still hear me, please put a comment in the comment section that you can still hear me. All right. So I said that the number one thing you need to do is to begin to read to your children. When can you start that? Start that immediately. All right. Yay, I can hear you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. If I don't see comments, it looks as if I'm talking to myself. So please, let's go on. All right. So number one thing is, please put in the comment section. Number one thing is you need to read to your children. That's number one. All right. So let's go. Number two thing that you need to do is, I have already said that you need to start as early as possible. Start as soon as you get to a point where you understand that, okay, I am having a child. The moment that happens, then that's a good time to actually start. That is a good time to actually start speaking to or reading to your children. All right? Let both books begin to get books as gifts. Begin to get books as gifts. I remember when the children were pretty young, a lot of people have asked me, how did you get your children to start reading and reading so well and reading on their own accord? One of the things that happened is that we started to buy books even when they didn't understand what it was. A lot of the times they taught it, a lot of the times it didn't mean anything to them, but you know the truth, it was sinking in. We bought so much books that when you get into their room, you will see lots and lots and lots of books. And you will begin to wonder what is happening. We use books as gift. We use books as gift to people. So it was very central in their life. All right. It was very central in their life. So book was something that they saw as a valuable thing. I remember when our daughter went to school and a friend borrowed her book and just bent it. You know how you get a book and you bend this part? They read with their book markers. So, and you bend this part, and the friend returned it to her, and she had a problem with it. So she told the girl that, no, why will you, fold my book? And the girl said, but does it really matter? She went crazy. Why? Her books have always been there to her, because right from day one, even when they tried to tear it, we started to teach them the values of book from a very early stage. So you can begin now, all right? You can begin now to begin to teach your children exactly how they can do things differently, right? Number two thing is that you need to define your family values. Value system, we've been shouting value systems for a long time, all right? We've been shouting value systems for a long time, right, here on TIP. Your family values will determine a lot. I remember that a parent reached out to me to say to me, oh, I know that your children, this parent goes to the same school, the children go to the same school that my children also go to. I say, I like the way your children read. They're always with a book, always, they read so well. What did you do? What kind of books do you buy for them? I realized that my daughter likes the kind of book your children read. I said to her, okay, ma'am, I'm going to show you where I get books, and I'm going to show you where I get books, and you will be able to actually, Tobe says it's not reflecting on you. Tobe, you need to You need to refresh. It's actually on the group. I can see it myself from my other device. So if you can see on the group, please, you need to refresh the system. All right. So, and she said, "Oh man, oh that's a little this thing. So you buy all the books?" I said, "Yes, I buy." So we went, and then we told. Thank you. We went and then we told. I told her that, okay, this is what we do for books. We have a budget for book every month, and this is exactly what we do for books. And I told her, took her to the shop, and then gave her showed her some of the books that we buy and how much it costs. She said to me outrightly, she said, so this person is not poor, so that you also don't misinterpret me, right? She said to me outrightly, I can't buy a book for that amount. It's not possible. I cannot. That was her word. I cannot buy a book for that price. I was in shock. I was a bit taken aback. She was like, you mean you spend this much every month buying books for your children? In my mind, I said, but you came to ask me why my children read the way they are, and I told you why. You know the problem. Our value systems are eroded. We have wrong systems when it comes to the kind of value we want to instill in our children. Unfortunately, this is the truth. Unfortunately, this is the truth. This same person that I'm talking about can afford to buy new cars every year. All right? Can afford to buy whatever. Fairly used, old books, exchange from friends. Make sure that you're buying books that your children own. There's something about the books that you own. It's not the same. If you're going to raise a child who loves to read, then you need to begin to put in their mind that getting a book is fundamental to their own, growing up. It is fundamental. So if you instill that in the head of your child, my children get money now and they say, this is for book. And then we will use the rest for these other things. If you are going to put that system in your head, then you must teach your children to begin to see value in books. The books that what is the value system on books? Where do you place books in your home? Your children can't read if books are afterthoughts. If books are just something, it's book now, let's not bother. It's just book, they are afterthoughts. If that is the case, then it's going to be a challenge because your children are going to also see it as an afterthought. You see parents who, reading, sometimes we even make reading as punishment. So the child does something, you say, go to your room and go and read. Come on. Go to your room and go and read. You do not know that you are actually putting something in the head of the child that says, reading is only when, I do something wrong. So it's not something I should enjoy. So already you're building unintentionally, things, right? Unintentionally, things that you put in the head of the child, you're unintentionally building a system that tells the child that, okay, books, it's not something that I need to prioritize. So until you prioritize your book, the book, reading, then it is not going to work. Another thing that, I had said that you must define your value system. So your value system, if you do not have a value system in your home, please get our value guide and build a value system for your home and begin to know what is most important to you, what is most central in the life of your children, what is most central in your life, even as a parent. So you begin to build all that, and that will help you to actually begin to build the system. Number 3, never push your child to learn to read. I'm going to explain. Never push your child to learn to read. Oh, your mates are reading. Oh, you must read. Oh, when you do that, you mount lots of pressure on that child. Remember I told you earlier, if you're just joining me, I had shared earlier How our son didn't even start reading as early as our daughter started to read. Meanwhile, they are twins. And I shared that our daughter already read the valedictory speech in nursery school. She was only one who could do that when they were graduating in nursery school. So, it was a long speech, but our son couldn't. When you push your children to read, you push, this is where silence and deliberate modeling comes in. Remember, I shared earlier about silent and deliberate modeling. You need to learn to keep silent and program deliberately. When you push, one of the clients that I worked with, one of the things that backfired in her own was, she said every time she was just shouting, you must read. If you don't read, okay, I guess the network allowed me back in again. Yes, I have a lot of, since the protest started, I've had a lot of glitches on network down here. Apologies again. Um, I don't know. All right. So, where were we? The last point that we shared was that you should never push your child to read. You should never push your child to read. So naturally, most children learn to read naturally once they develop the preliminary skills. So if you can still hear me, let me see your comment in the comment section, and then we take it from there. If you can still hear me, I'd like to see you comment that you can still hear me. I would love that very much. If you can still hear me, please let me see your comment. Okay. I can see that. All right. If you can still hear me, let me see your comment. We're back here streaming again. Apologies again. And again, we live in a third world. So the internet system here can drive you crazy sometimes. And I don't know why today is like this. So it's one of those days where the network is crazy. So if you're getting value from this session, please put in the comment section. Okay, yes, thank you. Put in the comment section that you're getting value, and we keep rolling. I don't even know. All right, Topper. Thank you, Topper. All right, awesome, awesome. Awesome. Some people still, they can still hear me, all right? So, so most children learn to read naturally, all right? Okay, so I don't know. The network keeps dragging me back and forth, and I'm really thinking that let me see. Okay, we're good. All right, we're good. Awesome. All right. So when you push your child to read, that thing, it removes the motivation. So teaching to read, you need not to take out the fun out of the teaching. You need not to take out the fun. Reading should be fun. reading should be fun, all right? Don't make reading a thing that you battle with, right? So it's not forced. Stop forcing stop forcing reading. Stop fighting the whole reading thing. I see a lot of parents, they're fighting, it's a lot of pressure on the child. The child is not going to learn. Now, when you keep, shutting down the child, fighting the child, it shuts down the part of the brain that can allow the child actually learn. It shuts down the part of the brain that can allow the child actually learn. So, yes, just like punishment. So when you do that, the child is now seeing reading as this thing is tiring. No, reading should be fun. It's just like playing. Make it look like something that you want to just go and it's your relaxed time. My children will get into their rooms. You come into their rooms sometimes. They don't share rooms anymore. You come into their rooms sometimes and you see, my daughter in one corner. She has a corner where she calls, the reading corner, and she's just, devouring some books. And or you see our son, who is an extremely right kinesthetic learner, reading, and the way he reads is that he reads and throws his leg. He's laughing out loud, he's screaming, he's talking to himself and laughing. And the kind of books that he reads are the kind of books that are akin to the kind of learner that he is. All right. So it's something that it is you that you will get. You're the one that will help your child begin to see reading as fun. So when a child does something wrong and you say, since you've been naughty today, go inside your room and start reading. Come on. So it means that reading is now some sort of punishment. Reading should not be any sort of punishment. All right. So never push a child to learn to read. Make it fun. Don't push it. Don't start jumping up and down. There is no need. All right. The feeling, when you begin to push your child, that feeling will last forever. The child will continually think that that is what reading should be about. But no, that's not what reading should be about. Reading should be fun. Another thing that you must do is that you need to help your child, books in levels. At what level is your child per time? How do you help your child scale from one level to another? Do you understand what is your child's progress, on his reading ability? Please, this progress I'm talking about is not in the age, neither is it progress on school or all that and all what have you. When I talk about reading, I'm not even talking about schoolwork, for your information. The books that we buy, right? The books that we buy are not the money, the way our budget for books are not budget on school books. They are budget on the likes of the lighting and the likes of all the books that you have around. Do you know what that has happened? What that has done? We don't need to force our children to do well in school. No, there's no need. Because already there's a reading culture. I have never woken or gone to my children to say, oh, it's exam time, you need to read. No, they understand it. It's a culture that has been built. I keep saying that if you build skills in your children, you have no reason to use a cane on a child. If you build skills, you have no reason. What are you going to beat the child for? If a child can cook when they should, what are you beating the child for? If the child can clean up when they should, what are you beating the child for? If the child can read when they should, what will you be beating the child for? You will find out that you have no reason to actually hit a child if you are building the child on skills. Reading habit is a skill. Reading habit is a skill. It's a habit. And because it's a habit, you need to understand that you're not going to forcefully, do it. Habits are grown and built over the years. I remember a friend visiting my home one time and then, saying to me, so you spend all this money buying books and not clothes. And I said, well, we all have what is most important to us for time. For us in my home, it is book. So you need to understand that. And then children who read, that you struggle less. Trust me. You struggle less with children who read. If there's nothing you pick out from this class today, hear me today. You struggle less with children who read because they're going to be able to read. They're exposed to so much. They're exposed to so much, and it just makes it a lot more easier. There's nothing to struggle. There's no, so if it's about a skill, a behavior, all you need to do is just put a system in the home that helps them learn through it. They understand a lot by reading so much. I learned, through books. I learned through books. I don't have to. My father didn't ever have to come and pressure me about reading and all that. I came out of my class in university. So it wasn't, there was no pressure. So when you keep pressuring your children without building the prerequisite skills, it's a failed system. And the skills you build is what will make their schoolwork look like, it doesn't look like anything. So when they love to read, remember, it activates their listening skills as well. Our son is a kinesthetic learner. It means that his auditory part is also low. He's a dominant kinesthetic learner. Part of how we were also able to help him build reading skills is to improve his auditory part. One part of what we did was also help him learn what it takes to build that. That's part of the things that we teach in the course, Understanding Your Child's Learning Style. We teach you how you can navigate through these learning styles and make it work for each child. Then, when you teach these things, it's easier for your child to excel. Your children will so read about so many things that you will be shocked. One of the biggest libraries in the world is situated in Paris. I never knew about it. I heard it from my children. And I had to visit, there when we actually traveled. Because I was like, oh, wow, really? I didn't know this exists. So when your children read, managing them, it's like a free flow. So you want to build the reading skills today. You want to read the reading skills today, right? I'm going to attend to the questions when we finish the things that we're reading that can help you. Another thing that you can do is to reduce screen time. What is the media plan in your home? The truth is, until your children build the habit of reading, you want to remove screen time. If you need to remove it totally, it's okay. If you need to reduce it, it's okay. Get a copy of our media plan. Build what you need per time. When you have the specified screen time, your children will find fun in doing other things. Stop keeping your children in front of the TV. I share that in my free book. If you're in on TIP, you would have gotten a free copy of that screen time book. The screen time book is free. Once you invite people, you just send a chat and you get it for free. Part of what I shared is what screen can actually do to your child. Stop putting your children in front of the screen all through the day. Your child watches TV for 4 hours, and where will the child begin to build the culture of reading? Tomorrow you tell me, no, you really need to beat the child. You're beating the child because you're not building skills. It takes time to build skills. The only reason why you're hitting your child is that you're not building the required skills for your child to be able to thrive. When you build skills, you will not have a cane. You will not have a need for it. So reading is part of those skills. Remove screen time and begin to reschedule what you have right here in your home. Another thing you can do is to try comic for reluctant readers. Our son started reading from reading comic, and then he graduated into reading anything. Remember that I talked about interest. You need to understand the interest of that child. And when you understand the interest of that child, it will help that child navigate. Remember, what we're doing, we're not saying that, no, you should not help your child read, do other things and all that. We're saying that you need to understand who your child is before you can begin to even help your child. You can't help your child beyond the knowledge that you have. You cannot help your child. Somebody is asking me if they can share the video. Yes, you can share the video. You can tag your friends as well. You cannot help your child beyond the knowledge that you have. The knowledge you have is your greatest of the limitations of your knowledge. So if you want to help your child begin to build these things, begin to understand him more. Another thing that you must do is what is your own reading culture? What does reading mean to you? Can your children come into your home and see books that you actually read? It's not books that you're claiming. The ones that you actually read. For instance, I have books that have markers, drawn, circled. My children can see. So when reading is like fun for me, when I get agitated, I give you a very vivid example, right? My phone had a clip between yesterday and today, and between that time, all I did was just take a book, sit down, and just enjoyed my book. So you can also teach your children to learn to use book as an emotional getaway. So your children will begin to see book as something that they can use for a calm state. If you can model that, it makes it easy. Remember, your children are going to go through emotional distress and all that. What is the habit that they are going to use? Many of the habits that young people use today is drug, alcohol. If you don't fill these gaps with what exactly they can do beyond these things, they will do them. It's not magic. It's not prayer point. They will do them. It's not prayer point. If you're not doing what is required per time, then you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle with what it is that you need to do for your children. I have said it over and again. Intentional parenting is not for perfection. Intentional parenting, it is a journey. It's a journey. There's no end. You're constantly learning. You're constantly doing something differently. You're constantly on learning where you are per time. You need to continually ask yourself, what I'm asking, is this something that I'm also modeling? I shared earlier on about a parent who said, that she can never buy, books worth the amount of money that we spend on books. And yet, she wanted the kind of result that I have. It's not the same. It's not the same, So it is important that you begin to look at how you can walk around your journey and begin to make it work. I've said from the beginning that your first pointer when it comes to helping your child learn to read is to understand who you're raising. Stop comparing your children. Stop comparing them with their siblings. Stop comparing them with your neighbor's children. Stop comparing them with your friend's children. They are not your friend's children. They are not your neighbors. They are themselves. Haven't you seen children who started to read when they turned 9, 10, and yet they are stars? Haven't you seen children who started to excel even later on? What is that? What's the thing about demonizing? It's because you do not understand who you're dealing with. So your first point of call on this journey, the first place to start, a lot of people are asking me, where do I start? The first place to start is to understand your child's interest and learning style. Is my child a kinesthetic learner? Is my child an auditory learner? Is my child a visual learner? Let me tell you one of the things that happen, why a lot of parents are cane wielders is because a lot of parents do not understand who they are raising. So the will they came because they don't understand who they are raising. Do you know that you cannot discipline a kinesthetic child the same way you discipline an auditory child? Never. If you do, you will fail it. The same way you discipline an auditory child, do you know that when you're talking to a child who is dominantly visual and you give a lot of instructions for time, that will fall on a deaf ear. You will think your child is actually being disrespectful. No, your child is wired not to hear those things in the sequence where you have presented it. When you understand how your child learns, even discipline becomes easy. So when we say you do not need to hit a child to discipline them, it will make sense to you. It doesn't make sense to you now because you do not understand a lot of things that your child is going through. You don't understand who the child is. So when we say you don't need to kill the child, you're thinking, this same child, no, I must. It's because there is a knowledge gap. The moment you understand how you can manage, your child in each of their interests and learning style, it makes it easier. It makes it easier to be able to discipline them. So you will not have reasons and cause. All right. You will not have reasons and cause for you to actually, begin to jump up and down and all that. We have three children, one foster daughter, two twins. One is a kinesthetic learner, one is a dominant visual learner, one is a dominant auditory learner. The three of them, instructions don't get to them the same way. And immediately we understood it. We don't need to wield the cane. You don't need to. I am saying it over and again. If you understand some fundamental principles in parenting, a lot of things will be easy. The reason why a lot of us keep arguing about a lot of things is knowledge. The moment you are able to bridge the gap of knowledge, then you will be able to understand exactly what we're saying. So when you learn your child's learning style, when you understand your child's learning style, many times one of the things I've seen is that parents teach their children with their own learning style, which is usually the case. Parents teach their children with their own learning style. And if you also understand it, it makes it easy even in schoolwork. You go to sit down with the teacher of your son, your daughter, and you are able to say, this is how my child learns. And a lot is put into consideration. So we opened up registration for that course 2 days ago, understanding your child's learning style. And you can put that course starts in 10 days. All right, the last cohort for the year 2020 starts in 10 days. So you can take, the course. You can, if you want the course, you can put the course. The course is 15,500, but there's an early bird offer. I don't know what I can't remember what that is again, but I'm going to find it before we leave this class so that I will not share the wrong thing, right? Okay, so you can actually take that course to help you on your journey as a parent. All right. Okay, yes, I can say it. It's 15,500, but there's an early bird you can get for 10,500, right? You can enroll for the course to be able to understand how your child learns. If you understand how your child learns, it will help you with discipline. It will help you with discipline. It will help you with a lot of things that happen to your child. It will help you with reading. It will help you with so many things that you need to learn. All right. So understanding your child's learning style is like a ticket. Then we decided, a lot of parents who took that course decided that, oh, okay, they needed to have something that they can guide them per time. So we are creating a guide on understanding your child's learning style as well. Now, if you enroll for the course, the guide is not going to show you the discipline part and all the things that you need to do as regards discipline, right? So it's not going to show you that. The course will. The course is actually very deep. The guide is just a one-off, right? That shows you this is the kind of learning style my child is. That will give you, something. That will give you something to, lean on and work on, and then put it out there. The guide, just like every other guide in 24 hours, is 1,000 naira. So you get your copy on Friday if you are going for the course. So if you want the guide, the learning style guide, just put in the comment section and say guide. You will get a reply to be able to get a copy. If you want the course, just put the course. If you enroll for the course, you get the guide free. If you enroll for the course, you get the guide free. I also know that we have people who have already made payment for the course. So yes, you're getting the guide free if you have made payment for the course. If you want the guide, just put guide in the comment section and you will get, what it takes. Somebody's asking, I need help. My new house help of 13 years cannot pronounce, or what can I do to help? If you started the session from the beginning, we said that a lot of factors could be the reason why a child is not reading. A lot of factors could be why the child is not reading. And part of what we say is that your child has all right, it could be that your child has a learning difficulty, and if that child has a learning difficulty, then you need to be able to determine what kind of learning difficulty it is. It could be dyslexia, it could be ADHD, depending on what it is. But of course, this session will not be able to give you that. If you want to go further on that, you can send me a chat. I have another question here. I said, growing up, I built a library of books for myself. I even bought books on credit back then. Fast forward to now, my children are voracious readers. Modeling the reading skills in front of the children saves you a lot of energy. You will need to preach and shout. Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing that. When you model it, it makes it a lot more easier for you to actually get the result that you're looking for. Because remember, your children are also watching. Your children are also watching. It's a lot more easier for your children to get exactly what it is that you know. How can one know a child's learning style? I don't know. I can't see the name of the person asking the question. Simply put, you can learn a child learning style. We'll put that guide would give you. Time won't permit me to actually do a lot of all that. That guide will give you the breakdown on how to understand exactly how your child learns and what it is that your child needs to, what it is that you need to look out for to be able to say, this is the kind of learner that my child is. And then you will also be able to understand this is the kind of learner that you are. Because if you do not understand the kind of learner you are, then you will have issues, right? You will have issues, with these things. All right, please, if you're making payment for the guide, I can already see you. Please, I'm going to respond to you after the session, right? We're going to respond to you after the session. We're just taking questions so that we will be able to round up. Thank you, Bukola Dada. I see you, ma'am. All right. So if you have a child that is struggling to read, to learn, take on, this principles, and you will be able to, understand a lot of the things that we're saying, right? So it's about principles. Whoever told you, let me say this, whoever told you that parenting have no principles, that's a lie. That's a lie. Everything in life that works has principles. Can just like every other thing in life, the truth is that everything, has a working principle. The question you need to ask yourself per time is, what works per time? That's the question you need to ask yourself. What works per time? What is the principle? What is working that I can use to implement in my own journey? There are a lot of principles, standard principles and all that. All right. Tobe is going to help respond to you to get the guide. So if you want a copy of the guide, simply put in the comment section guide. You will make payment and you will get a copy. For the people who have gotten copies of our guides in the past, they already understand how this works. All right. So we currently have 9 guides, and this is our 10th guide. All right. We're going to put out, this is the 10th guide that we have. So our guides have a lots and lots. We have the meeting plan guide, we have the media guide, we have the discipline strategy guide, we have the sex conversations guide, the emotional guide, the teacher parent guide. We have all sorts of guides that can help you on different levels of your journey, depending on where you are per time, depending on what is most important to you per time. So, if you just want a copy of the guide, all you need to do is to put guide in the comment section. If you put that guide in the comment section, that guide will be able to walk you through to be able to actually find what kind of learner you are, which is actually very important to me, that you learn what kind of learner you are, even before you begin to understand what kind of learner your child is. So you learn what kind of learner you are, and then you learn what kind of learner your child is, and then you can now begin to help your child through it all. All right. So simply put in the comment section, guide. If it's the course you want, I said earlier, part of what you're going to learn in the course is beyond understanding how your child, how your child learns. I will show you what you can do for each learner, for each kind of learner, of your child. If your child is an auditory learner or a kinesthetic learner, how you can begin to build them to understand other learning styles. Remember, every well-rounded child, requires that they learn with the 3 learning styles. So if your child must learn from all those learning styles, you need to now understand how to guide them. For instance, part of how we worked to help our kinesthetic son begin to work on his auditory, part is to learn musical instruments. So today he plays the piano like a pro. So that has helped him to be able to move. The cost is 15,500, but there's an early bird offer from now till 6 days. It ends on the 26th. Cost starts on the 30th of October. It is 10,500 naira today. So you can just make payment. You will get access to the guide as well. And then the course also will show you what you can do. The course will also show you what you can do. If you want to make payment for anything, you will see the chart right on my screen. It also shows you what you can do as regards discipline. Because for me, discipline is like an area of strength, right? Discipline is an area of strength in the academy for us. So part of what we are also able to do in the course is to bring you to the consciousness of what you can do as regards discipline. The way you discipline an auditory learner is not the way you discipline a kinesthetic learner, because they are all different kind of learners. So they learn. If your discipline strategy is to learn, then you understand that you need to teach your child exactly what they need to know and how they need to know. Remember, I said earlier that discipline imparts the thinking brain, while punishment imparts the emotional brain. So if you want your child to get something right, you need to teach your child, to think. Let your discipline strategy become one that makes your child think, not just one that just puts your child out there to just know. One that makes your child think per time. So if you want the course, just put course in the comment section. If you want guide, just put guide in the comment section. I can see that some people already made. The guide is just 1,000 naira in 24 hours. After 24 hours, it reverts back to 1,500 naira, like all our other guides. So, but if you want to get all our guides, reach out to me. You can pay 10,000 naira to get all the 10 guides, instead of paying 1,500 naira for each of the guides. All right. So the guide is 1,000 naira. 1,000 naira in 24 hours. If you pay after 24 hours, you pay 1,500 naira. That is the way we roll. Right. I'm trying to see if there are other questions here. Right in the. I'm trying to see if there are other questions right in the comment section. Yes, that your child can't read and you're beating the child is an error. Yes, Omalala, a child should not pay the price. A child should not be hit because they can't read. That's so wrong. You should not hit a child because they can't read. Look out for how you can help that child. Understand the interest of that child. Understand the learning style of that child and begin to model it for the child to begin to read. That's what you need to do with your child. All right. I'm still trying to catch up on the comments. So sorry about that. I'm trying to catch up on the comment. Understand my children's learning style. I undertook a course on what on that with Coach Wendy. Thank you, Annie. Annie had been in that course. We've had over 1,000 parents take the course Understanding Your Child's Learning Style. It's one of our star courses in the academy, and it's one course that when you take it, you will know that okay, yes, this is something that I really needed to know. So a lot of parents, reached out to me to say, I wish I knew something as simple as learning style when I parented my own children. We had a parent whose last child was 23 who took the course last year. In fact, she called me and she said, all the issues I had with my son was because he was a kinesthetic learner. So I forced my way through. It soiled our relationship and made a mess of everything that I believed in. So there's a lot for you to learn. There's a lot for you to begin to revisit, begin to unlearn. All right. I can't see any more questions yet. If there are more questions, please share in the comment section. We have 10 more minutes because we had a lot of back and forth with the internet, and we're trying to catch up on that timing. And if there are more questions, I can take your questions before we go. But one thing that you must take away from this session is that nothing, you can't parent, the very way you used to know, because the times are also changed. One of the reasons why we're putting up a lot of guides for you is to be able to put a structure to your parenting, because we've realized that parenting is about structure, it's about planning, it's about what you have in place, it's about the skills you build. All right. So there are a lot of things that people share as something that they have issues with, and we don't struggle with it as a family because of what? Skills building. What kind of book should a 3-year-old read? Is it based on her learning style? Yes. A 3-year-old should be able to, read books that is of interest as well. What is your 3-year-old interested in? What kind of learner is your 3-year-old? If your 3-year-old is a kinesthetic learner, your 3-year-old will like action-filled books. So when you give your 3-year-old action-filled book, if they're a kinesthetic learner, it will be interesting to them. But most importantly, for your 3-year-old, please read to them every night. Don't miss it. Read to them every night. If you don't have any book to read to them, Mary Beth is here. Get a copy of Mary Beth's book. It's called Bedtime Stories for Champions. You can read to them, with any kind of storybook. I remember that when the twins were a lot more younger, we had books they could read. Books we read to them. So you can read them books. That will really help your daughter of 3 to begin to actually build high IQ. IQ is built by reading to children. It's a very key way of building IQ. Anytime I tell my daughter to study, she don't put interest, but she pays a lot of attention to cartoon. How can I tell her to love her studies more? All right. One of the things that you can do, Abigail, is to understand how does your child even learn. We have shared strategies on some of the things. You can catch replay on our YouTube channel, because I think that's the most reliable place to catch replay right now. I don't know to Facebook today. Also, you can catch replay on our YouTube channel and be able to see all the things that you're supposed to do. So one of the things that you can do is one of is to understand her interests and understand what kind of learner she is. And then you also want to build a plan around your media in your home. Do you have a plan around media? If you do not have a plan around media, that is going to be tough. All right. So you need to help your daughter. First of all, understand what kind of learner she is. Then secondly, you need to understand what kind of interest, what kind of book will be of interest to her. So if you understand what kind of learner it is, easier to give her. What kind of books are you giving her to read? Maybe those kind of books have no interest to her. Have you really found out, what kind of learner she is? I will advise that you get a copy of the learning style guide, or better still, enroll for the course. It's going to open your eyes to a lot of things that you actually thought you knew that you didn't know. And it's going to also help your children to be able to walk the journey. So if you want Abigail to get a guide, you will have to reach out to me. I can see you're streaming from YouTube. You can reach out to me on my WhatsApp session, or you can reach out to me on Telegram if you're viewing from Telegram. I understand that a lot of people are also viewing on Telegram. I saw your question right on Telegram. Let me be sure that I have been able to answer that. Yes, at 3, you can actually help your child do that. Somebody is asking on Telegram, please, at what age do I know my child learning style? My child is 3. You can actually know by your child by the time your child is that age. I can see Blessing is one asking from Telegram. Yes, you can know at that age. There are signs. There are things that you need to look out for you to understand how your child learns. So it's those signs that we are actually talking about. What are those signs that you need to look out for? These are some of the things, that you need to look out for anytime that your child you're looking out to understand, what kind of learner your child is. Thank you so much, everybody. I think I've answered all the questions. And like I said earlier, if you want a copy of the guide teaches you how to understand what kind of learner your child is. Put in the comment section guide. If you want the course, put in the comment section course. And that course walks you through not just understanding your child's learning style, walks you through to how to improve your child's reading, walks you through to how to help your child become, a better reader and have more interest, walks you through how you can discipline that child right. Because when it comes to learning style, it has a lot to also do with how discipline is being assimilated by the child. All right. Thank you so much. I hope I answered everybody's question. If I missed any, please tag me to it. Please tag me to it, and I will be able to do that. All right. A short take. You can see if you're on YouTube, please look at the screen so that you can see the details of payment and also how you're going to reach out to us. All right. Please, if you're on YouTube, watch this. Look at the screen. The payment details are on the screen so that you will be able to actually make payment. The guide is just 1,000 naira in 24 hours. After 24 hours, it reverts to the original cost of all the guides that we have, and then you will be able to access it. So these guides give you like I know that a lot of parents, a lot of people who have already made payment for the guides already. I can see already understand how most of our guides work. They are workable documents. That's the good thing about the guides. They are workable documents, and it's easy for you to just print them out and then use them to work. And then you're also going to have a guide to how, okay, this is the kind of learner my child is, and these are all the things that you need your child to know, and these are all the things that you need to look out for. So it's going to have a template: the kinesthetic, the auditory, and the visual. So if you're enrolling for the course, like I said earlier, the course is more expanded and teaches you more, and you're going to also get the guide, if you're enrolling for the course. Thank you so much, everybody. So sorry about the network glitches today. Was such wasn't such a such a nice thing. But thank you so much for being here, and thank you for staying true and also watching with and also connecting. Thank you for watching me on YouTube. Like I said, the payment is details are right on our screen, and you can take that to make payment for either the course or the guide. Thank you, everybody, and thank you again. My name is Wendy Ologe, and I'm the founder of the Intentional Parent Academy. All right, you can also reach out to us for any other issues that you have. Please reach out to us and let us deal with it. Smart Peters. Okay, Smart Peters. Please look on the screen. When you look on the screen, you will see the payment for the payment details for the course. It's the same account. The Intentional Parent Academy is one account. We only use the GT account. It's one account that we have, runs on GT, and that is our official account. The Intentional Parent is also a registered company in Nigeria as well. So no, we're not just doing a business on the side where actually it is legitimate, everything you need to know and everything that you need to do. So if you want the course, just look on the screen and then you'll be able to get these details. Thank you so much. Thank you, Gold Amadi. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Tobe. Thank you, my yard people. I see you all. Thank you, everyone, for being here with me. And do have an amazing, amazing evening.